So be able to identify maxes and mins, local and extreme and absolute, by looking at the graphs, as well as looking at equations, do the first derivative, find out the critical points, which critical points happen where?
When the slope is undefined, slope is tangent is undefined or zero.
When the first derivative is 0 or undefined, period. Like either of those. And, all right, then there was mean value theorem. There were two conditions that apply for mean value theorem. What are the two conditions? Must be continuous.
Inclusive, and then differentiable.
Okay. So, for mean value theorem to apply, the function needs to be continuous over the closed interval and differentiable on the open interval. And I have graded a few of these on the AP exam. Some students wrote down the definition of mean value theorem and said, you know, it's when it's continuous over A to B and differentiable over parentheses A to B, blah, 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 that they didn't put in the specific numbers in the interval that the AP exam asked for. AP did not give them the point. I argued it. I lost. But I think that's petty. I think that's stupid. However, when I see these like irritating little fine points that they will complain about, I will tell you about them when I see them. But there is a difference. Like you need to know that one is continuous over the closed interval, continuous over the open interval. All right. So that's 4.1, 4.2. 4.3, which we have yet to do tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday. Then you have a quiz. You guys have the choice to have the quiz on Friday or Monday. Talk about it with the people at your group. And write on your little whiteboard if you want it Friday or Monday.
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Could we have another one?
There's markers behind you. Oh.
It's possible, but a lot of stuff.
Guys, if you don't vote, you're gonna like get the
On Saturday?
If you don't vote, you get Okay, maybe guys, I should tell you, it doesn't, by having it Monday, doesn't mean that we're not continuing with material. Friday, like, on the schedule, the way I have it normally written, is the day before the quiz, we do applications of these things. We start optimization, which, according to my students, is the worst subject ever. According to me, that's chapter 9, but, so, we would continue with 3.4 on Friday, which is kind of a review of 4.1 to 4.3. And then retakes. You have 3 options. There will be 3 quizzes by the end of the quarter, and the end of the quarter is like Halloween. There is the very first quiz on prereqs, which most of you did very well on. There is the one that you can 3.1 to 3.4, you can use the first test average to replace your quiz average. And then there is this one that is either Friday or Monday, depending on how you vote. And retakes would be, when is the makeup PSAT? Do any of you know? Do any of you have to take them? You're all here for it, those of you that wanted to take it, so it doesn't apply to you and it's not an issue? Okay, so I don't have to schedule it on that, okay. So I would say retakes would be Wednesday, so that it gives us some time to get this quiz back to you and make a new one. Heads up, the quiz is on Delta Math. And the way the Delta Math is gonna work is unusual. I will release it as a homework. It will tell you you got it right or wrong as soon as you submit. If you got it wrong, it takes away a penalty, but you can try another question. However, you have a limited amount of time in class to do the assignment. Like, yeah, okay. Here's a Delta Math homework assignment. You have 46 minutes in class to do this homework assignment, because it will grade you immediately and tell you got it right or you got it wrong. And if you didn't wanna, like, have it wrong, you can try it again. If you get it wrong again, it's going to take another penalty. So if you keep, like, doing it wrong, or if you spend your time trying to learn the concept while taking it, that's bad. So the idea is you come in knowing what you're doing, you get it right on the first try, and you just keep going. But if you rush too much and you start making mistakes, it's a problem. So, questions about that? Yeah.
Wait, how many questions?
I don't know.
But is
I
it-
will- Okay, so Delta Math gives me an estimation of how much time it should take. And you'll have enough time in the class period to do the assignment. And whatever it is, like, and those of you with extended time, it will cut up.
Is there like an advantage to doing the question again?
Okay, so in Delta Math, when you do assignments, Emmett, where it takes some points off, you can earn the points back. So if you submit an incorrect answer, it takes half a point off. Which if you got everything right but one, you'll get like 9.5 out of 10. But you can do another one of those questions and then make up for that point that you lost, but it's costing you in time. Brooke? No. Yeah.
I mean, if you get multiple wrong on the same thing, do you keep losing points?
Oh, yeah. So, back in the day, we used to use Quest, which was a way to give you guys problem sets. And most students got perfect scores on problem sets. They were just painful, long, painful, difficult things. And you'd lose a little bit of points along the way, but generally it was a thing to help smooth over the difficulty of the class. This is our attempt at smoothing over that difficulty, but it is a delicate balance of how many times do you go down the rabbit hole and keep doing the same problem wrong, maybe? Versus moving on and getting all the ones you know correct. Yeah?
Wait, I heard we might have an assembly on Friday. Is that true?
It's Friday. Wellness something?
I think it's a Hispanic heritage.
Wellness is Hispanic heritage, okay, yeah.
Would the retake also be on Delta Math?
Okay, on the Delta Math practice things, I have posted 2 or 3 optional Delta Maths for things. The one for the chapter 3 test, not many people did it, which is unfortunate because at least 3 questions, character for character, came off Delta Math and were pasted on your test. One of those was the most missed question on the test. So, not saying you had to do it because you don't, but some of you might benefit from checking it out. And one person did do exactly the question, got it wrong 5 times, and was like, screw it, and never got it right. Also got it wrong on the test. Unfortunate. I'm not pointing at anyone. Don't be like, gosh, me. So, I mean, if you find a topic that was hard, ask about it. Or like, watch the video that's embedded in every single question. Yeah?
Wait, sorry, you
I will.
Sorry.
I will see.
Okay.
Probably, but, yeah. Okay, so now, Do you guys still vote the way you voted, or do you wanna change your vote?
Is that one that too? There's one more behind you.
2 for 2, huh?
What would you estimate the line?
So the quiz is a quiz, which is between 20 and 30 points. So, you guys still stick with your vote? So, Eliana, Stacy? Abigail, what do you guys say? And Ella?
Just whatever.
You abstain?
Yeah.
I have the first part.
So you're gonna just like go with the flow and take whatever everybody else does? Okay. So more people in here voted Monday than Friday, and first period more said Friday than Monday. And fourth period was kinda half and half, but more said Monday. So it sounds like Monday. Okay. All right. So, these kinds of questions. We sort of did this one the other day. First of all, do you guys have any specific questions from 4.1 or 4.2 that you want to make sure we go over today? Yes?
I had a question about 23.
23? Okay. So 23 says find the extreme values and where they occur. What is that asking for? Find the extreme values and where they occur. What are the extreme values? Y values. And where they occur are the X values. Any volunteers? Because I can ask a few of the scribes to come up and do them. Who's the scribes? I will tell you. Aubrey, Max, Haley, Jacob, Eliana, Abigail, Brooke, Nadia, and Ben. And Ella. So, I will ask the random number generator, also known as the cards, to pick 2 scribes to put them up if nobody volunteers. Okay, what group has to put up? 7 and group 11. Oh, there was no group 11 in here.
So what, there's 2 separate just work?
10.
Okay.
Group 10. So Ben, that's you.
Let's go, man.
Here we go. You're not group 10. Ooh. Ella. Thank you. Sorry, Ben. So to find extremes, what's the process? Do the derivative. Find where the first derivative is 0 or undefined. And then check those critical points and the endpoints. Do we have endpoints given to us in this question? Are there endpoints or not? No. Are there endpoints actually when we? Yes. How do you find the endpoints? What are you looking for? You look for the domain. Okay. What is the domain? How do we find that? 1 to infinity, but not including 1. It's bigger than that.
You got a sticker. I do that test.
On one of them, I just filled in.
Do you have an
I haven't been looking at it. It's an 86.
So now switch with the retake, like, possibly.
We shall see. It's my fault because I didn't study the characterization well, so that's my fault.
There's one of them I didn't get an answer.
You got a 30? You were an 80, right? Do you feel like it's helpful too much?
I don't know if that's what's up to the entire class. I plugged it into Y and I got that. So I'm not sure if that's a 3.
Oh, yeah.
I actually did
Oh, right, the two separate.
question, the answers are passing.
No, I figured. The questions that I didn't know what I was doing, I got wrong, so.
This, I felt so sorry.
Alright, guys. Alright, hello. So, first of all, we will talk about the test in a minute. This question, there were no endpoints given, but Brooks said you need to find a domain. And how do we find the domain? Well, I can't do square root of a negative. I don't know where this is negative. I'm gonna find out just where it's 0. Where is x squared minus 1 equal to 0? Well, when x is positive 1 and negative 1. And then I'm gonna make a number line and just see
Could have been.
what makes negative numbers. Well, plugging in 0, plugging in 0 doesn't work, right? Because 0 minus 1 is a negative, so I have this backwards. So it's negative. So, do you guys know what this function looks like? Yeah. Yeah, the county did great when they rearranged the curriculum. It's a conic section. You guys know what that conic section looks like? Is it a parabola, a circle, an ellipse, a hyperbola, or something else? Circle is plus. Ellipse is also plus, but goes, this one, the minus, it's a hyperbola. It looks like the top half of like bug antennas. Hyperbolas go like, it looks like the stripes on a basketball. No? You learned this in geometry, maybe online? Learn? Those of you headed to multivariable next year, you need to relearn conic sections. It is a thing we might do after the AP exam. Anyway, you don't need them for the most part in here. But, all right, so our natural endpoints, 1 and -1, and then where are our critical points? Do the derivative, multiply by the power and lower the power, and then multiply by the derivative of the stuff inside. It's also undefined, or it's 0 at 0. So, testing the function. Is the y value, is the function undefined at 1? Is the function undefined at 1? No, I can plug 1 in. When I plug 1 into the function, I get 0. When I plug 0 in, I get the square root of -1, which is imaginary, and I don't have to deal with that in here. The absolute minimum is 0. where does it happen? At x equals -1 and x equals +1. What is the absolute maximum? Don't have it. Goes forever. Jacob, you're giving it a funny look. You just did the Exorcist dog, you know, when they look like their whole head's gonna spin around? Yeah, because really, I thought, and then if you threw up pea green soup, that would just pop it off. It's a thing on my mind right now. My dog threw up on my bed last night at 2 in the morning. A bad day. I was pretty unhappy about it. Still, good times. Okay. Other questions from the homework? Yeah. 29? Okay, we kinda did 29 the other day. Are there any weird things in the domain, or is the domain all reals? Max says all reals. Logan agrees. Sebastian agrees, okay. Let's see, how do I do? Ryan, how do I find maxes and mins? What do I need to do with this?
First, find the critical point.
Okay, find the critical points by doing what? By doing the derivative. On the test that you guys got back, some of you did this derivative by saying 1 over 2x. Is that right? Is that how we do quotient rule? No. No, and if you do quotient rule that way, there is no partial credit. You can kiss the whole problem goodbye. So Caden, how do I do quotient rule with this problem?
Low D minus high D low.
I speak in what's in the question rather than low D high, high D low, low.
X squared plus 1 multiplied by 1.
Bottom times the derivative of the top.
Subtracting
Subtracting.
x times 2x.
Bottom times the derivative, or top times the derivative of the bottom.
X squared plus 1 squared.
Okay. Nico, where is this function undefined? So where is the denominator 0? Okay. Where is it 0? Sebastian, how do I find out when that's 0?
Well, whenever the top is equal to 0.
Okay, so the top multiplied out, x squared plus 1 minus 2x squared, okay? When is that equal to 0?
At 1 and -1.
Okay, at 1 and -1, so those are my critical points. Okay, Esther, what do I do with it now? So I don't have any discontinuities. Max correctly stated that the domain is all reals. So if I'm doing my like table, I don't have any ends. So I'm just gonna put the critical points on there. I kinda wanna do a number line check too. But what do I do with Zach, group 9 Zach? What do I do with this number line or this table?
Plug the points into the original function.
Plug into the original function, so plugging into the original function, -1 over -1 squared plus 1, sounds like -1/2.
Yep.
And +1 over, okay. And those maxes, are they mins, are they absolute, are they local, how do we know?
Local,
Because what?
because there's no absolute.
Okay. And I wanna use the number line to verify that. So this guy plugging in 0 into the derivative. I should have cleaned things up. Plugging 0 into the derivative, I get positive. Plugging in like negative 8 million or positive 8 million, I get negatives there. So it comes down until it hits there, then it goes up. And as she said, there is no absolute. The local minimum is negative 1/2. It happens at x equals negative 1. The local maximum is positive 1/2 and happens at x equals 1. Cool? Yeah.
I was gonna ask for like the teacher and the number line, is it more like you use one or the other, or is it like one usually like shows one information?
When it's open, like all the numbers that ever could be numbers, I use the number line. But when it gives me endpoints, I use the t-chart. So that's why I was like, because this is all reals, I'm gonna check trend. Yay. Megan, can you see at all?
Yeah, no, I can. I was just like,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to set up the room with these little groups of 3 in a way that y'all over there can see. Well, can you see the board at all?
Yeah.
How about now? Okay, what else from the homework? I kind of want to make sure you guys can do mean value theorem. This did not go well in first period. Can you try 17? So 17 says first, show that the function satisfies the hypotheses of the mean value theorem, and then find the values, value or value. Yeah. On the last one? 17? No, you were not supposed to use a calculator on 17. Hopefully, you guys can do this. You can do it without. Who has left the building. Hamid, what are the things that have to be true so that mean value theorem can be applied?
It has to be continuous along the closed interval and differentiable along the open interval.
Okay, so this is the graph of sine inverse.
Mhm.
Is it continuous
Yep.
over the closed interval?
Mhm.
Is it differentiable over the open interval?
Yes.
Okay, so mean value theorem applies. Cool. So I need to find the average. Ooh, arc sine of 1. What angle makes sine 1? Pi over 2. What angle makes sine negative 1? Negative pi over 2. And 1 minus negative 1 is not 0. It is 2. So, yeah. So pi over 2 plus pi over 2 is pi, then divided by 2, okay, ends up being pi over 2. Emmett, I need to also, so that's the average. How do I find the instant?
We have to do, the derivative of sine inverse of x.
Correct. So the derivative of x is what?
1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared.
So mean value theorem says, when does the average equal the instant? And this is a horrible, mean question. So actually, I lied. You do need a calculator. Like, I can do this, but it's gonna be ugly. Solving for x. Okay, I'm gonna flip everybody upside down. You guys know you can do that. First of all, like, do you agree these fractions are equal, 1/2 equals 4 over 8? If that's true, you can turn the whole thing upside down. That's still true. I can trade things diagonally. 8 over 2 equals 4 over 1, or I can trade things diagonally the other way. 1 over 4 equals 2 over 8. In solving trig equations and solving any kind of ratio proportion thing, it will help save time. Anyways, all right, now we need to finish solving over here. Squaring stuff. That's squared over here, 1 over there. Square root. So x equals the square root of 1 minus 4 over pi squared, and negative that. And if we look at the curve, here's the average. There's the places where the instant will be equal, one positive space, one negative. Makes sense? How you doing? So I don't know what that decimal is, but like that's how I would complete it without a calculator. Be like, I don't know what that is. There you go. Jacob, you're doing the exorcist dog thing again? What's?
Yeah, how is sine inverse of -1 inverse of pi at a certain point?
Okay, sine inverse is asking, when is sine +1? So sine does this. It needs to be restricted because your calculator could give you an infinite number of answers where sine is 1. It hones in right here. What angle is this that makes sine 1? Pi over 2. And where is it -1? Down here at negative pi over 2. There's a whole infinite number of places, but your calculator is only ever going to tell you from quadrant 4 to quadrant 1 and the short way around. It's going to give you a negative angle. Yeah.
Would you ever ask us for a different interval that's like not over -1?
sometimes they will ask 0 to 2 pi, give me all answers in this space. So yes. And good question. That did not have a capital sign on it, like in the pre-cal, we're like, oh, if it's capitalized, it restricts it. So this is vague, the way it's written. They will be precise, and they will sometimes say, give me all answers from 0 to 2 pi. And why do they ask it like this? Square on one and round on the other. So, like, if 0 is an answer, 2 pi is an answer, and they don't want to do double jeopardy. If you miss the 0, you're going to miss the 2 pi. Zach, what's your question?
I was gonna ask it, but now I'm not sure if I should ask it. Will there be a calculator on the delta math?
You know, if you need the calculator, it's going to take you too long to type it in.
No, I'm saying like on some of the delta math questions. The delta math, does it provide calculators?
I can turn the calculator on and off. I will probably turn it off. Because I'm just not feeling that way. Okay, are there questions on the tests? So, for example, one of the questions on the test, ooh, if I could find my cursor, that would be great. Okay, so guys, in grading this, I decided to not look at your work and find it as offensive as it was. However, some of you showed stuff really, really wrong. This is saying limit definition of derivative. What is the function we're doing the derivative of? Arc sine of x. So the function is arc sine of x, not 2 over 5. Oh, I lost my dude. So the way I see these is it's stuff in motion. So guys, look, is the dog moving? Like, he was moving. He's definitely not like able to just levitate and be there like that with his tail and all fluff and whatever. So he's not moving, but he was. We took a picture. So this is what I mean by find the function. This is the trajectory. This is the motion. Do the derivative. Do the derivative, and now snapshot. Just because it amuses me. I get to have a picture of a dog. Or the coolest Salvador Dali picture. The water is clearly not still just hanging in the air. But this was taken at a snapshot. Everything was in motion. You need to do the derivative first. How is it moving? And then take the picture. So how is it moving? Right here. A lot of you plugged in the 2 over 5 here and then did the right math afterwards. And the beginning was offensive and really, really wrong. I just ignored that and went la 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 la. But then the derivative at 2 over 5 is, if you left it like that, you lost points. It said simplify. Hold on. So 1 is 25 over 25, which is that's 5 over root 21 is what I was looking for. And if you didn't fully simplify, it depends on where you stopped, how much credit you lost. And if you gave me a decimal, as it said in the directions, no decimal answer. Okay.